has everything to do with them because you know who you are, and someone would be lucky to be with you, or that you'd be the best candidate for the job. And so it's always trusting that the universe has a bigger story in mind. There are more things happening in the world than you realize. So it's just remembering that you are you and you are amazing, and just going through life with that mindset. And I mean, they say all the time, I don't know if you've seen this, they always say that if you think you're a hot girl, then you're a hot girl. Or if you act confidently, nobody will question you. That one's by Sarah's Day. It's so true, because if you act confidently, everyone's going to think that you're a confident person, and it's just going to raise your vibration so high, and nobody's going to question you, even if you're not confident. Like, fake it till you make it. And people do make it all the time, just because people will think what you pretty much make them think.
Right. And I think being confident is like so important. Like people notice when you're confident.
Oh
People
yeah.
be around people who are confident and exude happiness and are positive light in someone else's life. Like no one wants someone that's negative, or I think that's just so important. Being confident. I know it's not easy to be confident.
No.
And it does take it's not like something overnight. It's definitely a buildup, and you kind of have to get to that level. But
Yeah.
once you are confident, like you said, I feel like people will believe what you say just because you have this like aura and this like
Mm-hmm.
way of talking about like that you kind of show off, that kind of makes people like, oh well, even though she might not know everything, she's confident and she'll has a work ethic to kind of make something, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think stuff like that so important.
And people will always be like, oh my God, you're such a different person, or like, oh my God, you've changed. And it's not necessarily like you've actually changed. You're the exact same person. You just are more confident. I
Yeah.
mean, when I moved to Memphis, my friends from home, they call me Memphis Rachel, because apparently here I'm more confident and outgoing. And it's not that I'm a different person. That's how I am in this environment. And so now when I go home, I'm now that same person. I'm just confident and more outgoing. And so they're like, whoa, what happened? And nothing happened. I'm just more confident and secure in myself and who I am. And I mean, it happens with time, obviously. When I was in college, when I was a freshman or a sophomore, I wasn't the same. I was just trying to figure it out. And now that I'm, post grad and working, I think I feel a little bit more settled. But it definitely plays a huge role. And not saying that people who are confident don't have insecurities, because everyone does, but it's choosing just to own them, instead of wishing that you could change them, like we were talking about before. I see on TikTok all the time, because TikTok has been my quarantine boredom reliever. You know, and this is a different, subject entirely, but people who are insecure getting plastic surgery to fix that. And I totally respect people who get plastic surgery, because if something is an insecurity for somebody, then like they should have the right to fix it. But it makes me sad. It makes me sad because you can find a million different things about yourself that you want to change and that you don't like. And it makes me sad that people feel like they just can't go on in life unless they change it.
Like
And
there.
some people, I mean, people get more confident after they have plastic surgery. But like we talked about earlier, if you weren't happy before, I mean, you may not, it's not going to solve everything, and it may not make you happy after. I mean, I think in a lot of cases, people think that it will. But at the root of it, it just goes back to what we said, being happy with who you are. And it comes from within, being able to sit, alone with yourself in a room and read a book with a candle and do your self care and take care of yourself always, make yourself healthy meals and get active and surround yourself with people who are positive and uplifting and things like that. I mean, the whole thing is a huge circle of basically building yourself a healthy, happy life, and it all goes hand in hand.
And it's never like something that happens overnight. It's definitely a journey that everyone's kind of navigating through. And I think that I definitely agree. Like if you want to get plastic surgery, it's okay. People are definitely happier after it, but it's almost as if like, were you happy like before that, or like, you know what I mean? So I just kind of feel like accepting your flaws, because nobody's perfect and everyone's always going to have something that they kind of wish they can change about themselves. But just realizing that you are meant to be the way you are. This is the way you were made, and own it and live your best life with who you are.
And society standards change all the time. I mean, some days being supermodel skinny is in, and then other days it's not in. And sometimes short hair is in, straight hair, curly hair, natural, like super tan. Everything changes. So it's so hard. You can't just bend yourself to fit every single mold because everyone is cut from a different cloth. And like, even if we all ate the same, we would not look the same. If we all did the same workouts, it wouldn't look the same. And we all just make up such a diverse population. It just breaks my heart. I think that some people are just so unhappy that they have to make the changes, but it makes me happy if they're happy afterwards. So it's just all about comes from within, I promise. And that's something it takes forever. Someone I read the other day, they're like, I've been an 11-year journey to self-love. I mean, you'll spend your whole life, going, getting to know yourself, because a lot of people don't know themselves, and just a long journey, but it's definitely worth it in the end.
Definitely. I feel like people always want to find happiness, always want to find love, always want to just be the best they can in life. So it's amazing when people are trying to get to that level.
And people will spend their whole life trying to find it, only to find that it was right there the whole time. That's the kicker, the whole thing. I mean, you're going to search for happiness here, here, and here, when you could have been happy in all those places. You just had to find it, within you to do that.
Definitely. So, Rachel, what are some ways people can get in touch with you?
So I'm Healthy Ways for Days on Instagram, just the way it sounds. So you can definitely send me a DM on there. And I think that would be the easiest way to get in touch with me. I also have a YouTube channel. It's Rachel Wolfson. The picture is me. And I just started that. But those I think are the best ways to get in touch with me. And I love talking to people about everything. Like I said, I have friends that I met through Instagram, whether they just DM'd me a lot and then we ended up becoming friends, or they have food Instagrams and we connected on there, and then slowly over time became friends that way. So I love talking to people. I think that people are such a great resource, like you said, learning from people and making friends in those connections.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I said I wasn't going to talk too much. I think I did.
Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode on the Fashion Fables podcast, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye, everyone.